Hey, what's up guys? Mark here. Today I'll be reviewing the MSI GS75. It's a premium 17-inch thin and light gaming laptop with the new RTX cards inside. Now that sounds kind of weird, right? Like 17-inch laptop, thin and light. You don't normally associate 17-inch gaming laptops with being portable, but this one is. And it's actually quite a unique experience being able to just lie on the couch with such a big screen watching movies or even gaming. But anyway, it's the GS75 with the RTX 2070 Max-Q. Let's just get into it, starting with the build quality as always. The laptop is constructed mostly out of aluminum with some plastic pieces here and there. The keyboard deck is rock solid. There's a little bit of flex on the screen, but it's a 17-inch panel after all, so it's pretty good given what it is. But I noticed that when you carry this thing around, especially while the screen is open, it makes these creaking noises. The other thing is that the finish on the interior feels a little bit cheap. Like it's aluminum, but the coating on the surface kind of feels like plastic. The hinge is tuned really well, but the rubber feet on the bottom of the laptop are very slippery, so you need to hold down the laptop with the other hand to open it. Like the rubber feet feels more like hard plastic rather than a soft, grippy rubber, and every time I try and plug something into the ports, like a USB flash drive, it just slides around and it's pretty annoying. The gold hinge covers are made of plastic with like an anodized appearance to it, and the entire laptop has this subtle gold trim around it, which actually looks really nice. It's a pretty clean looking gaming laptop. It's using a 17-inch 1080p 144Hz screen with surprisingly thin bezels on all four sides. The chin in particular is a lot smaller than a lot of other laptops, and it just makes the screen a lot more immersive. It's bright, the color gamut isn't amazing, but the accuracy is quite good. It's got wide viewing angles, and it's just an overall really nice screen for everything. Okay, when you look at photos of this thing, you'd probably think that the massive grill above the keyboard are where the speakers are, right? Like it would have some massive, loud and crispy speakers, but it doesn't. They're actually located on the bottom of the laptop, and sound quality is really tinny. They're loud, but the actual sound quality itself is quite poor, especially for a 17-inch laptop with all this space inside. Like gaming, YouTube videos, movies, music, it's not a good speaker. The keyboard is good, but there are a couple things that I'm not a big fan of. The typing experience and the actual keys feel nice and it's comfortable to type on. Key travel is great, there's a nice amount of force on the switches, but the thing that I dislike about it is the position of some of the keys. The first one is the Windows key placement. It's all the way to the right, and if you don't use it, let me show you some cool stuff that you can do with it. You can hit it once to search for programs and files to open them quickly, hit Windows Tab to get a preview of all of your open programs, and you can also hit Windows Shift S to take a screenshot and save it to your clipboard automatically. Like there's some genuinely cool stuff that you can do with it, but having the Windows key on the right just makes it a little bit less natural to hit all of the key combos. And then they also placed the volume, brightness, keyboard backlighting, and media controls all around the keyboard while leaving a bunch of the function keys blank. It just makes it more annoying when they're scattered around. It's not a deal breaker, but I don't like it. Their trackpad, on the other hand, is actually really good. It's a glass trackpad with a frosted surface and a gold trim around the perimeter. It's smooth, the clicks are nicely weighted, and it's using Windows precision drivers, so tracking is precise and gestures work well. It's actually quite a nice trackpad. On the left of the GS75, you'll find the power port, an Ethernet jack, a USB-A, micro SD, and separate headphone and mic jacks. And on the right, you have an HDMI 2.0 port, a Thunderbolt 3 port, two more USB-As, and a USB-C port for USB 3.1 Gen 1. The only thing is that you'll want to mind the placement of the USB ports on the right if you're hooking up a mouse there, because it might get in the way. And maybe go for a full-size SD slot instead of micro next time, but otherwise, it's got really good port selection on this thing. The bottom panel is quite a challenge to pop off because it's held down by these clips on all four sides. The back in particular was difficult because I honestly wasn't sure if I was going to snap the panel in half, but you just need to put some force on it. But once you do get it off, you get access to the 3 M.2 slots and the Wi-Fi card. 2 of them support NVMe and SATA, the third one is SATA only. The drive they include is the Samsung PM981, it's a really fast drive. Besides that, you have the i7-8750H, 16 gigs of RAM, and an RTX 2070. You can also get the 2060 or 2080 Max-Q, but I'm reviewing the 2070 model. The RAM is upgradable, but it's on the other side of the motherboard, so it's not exactly easy to upgrade. And the performance in games is a little bit weird, actually. Some games like Resident Evil 2 got the exact same frame rates as the Razer Blade 15 that I reviewed, exact same hardware down to the SSD, but in other games like Shadow of the Tomb Raider and Doom, it got significantly worse frame rates, like 120 FPS on Doom versus about 170 FPS with the Blade. I'm guessing that it's just a software issue, but either way, these RTX cards push frame rates well over 60 FPS with this 1080p screen on ultra graphics. And if you drop it down to like high or even medium, you can hit 144 FPS with the latest AAA games. And then obviously esports titles will get like 50 trillion FPS. These RTX cards handle 1080p like butter. The thermals are also really good, as you would expect from a 17-inch laptop. With the fans on auto, it hits into the 90s obviously. With the fans on max, you're looking at temps in the low 70s to high 60s on average, with peaks into the high 70s. The fans on idle are quiet, but if you crank it up with the cooler boost profile, these things sound like actual jet engines, but there's manual fan control in there so you can adjust it to be reasonably loud while still getting really good temps. The surface temperatures are also really cool, so I accidentally left Shadow of the Tomb Raider running for 19 straight hours with the fans on auto, not even kidding by the way, and temps were very comfortable. There was a hot spot up at the top that hit about 50 degrees Celsius, but the keyboard and trackpad were both warm at most. And if you were wondering what that massive grill up top was for, they use it to intake cool air from the top and bottom of the laptop and then exhaust it out from the sides and the rear of the laptop. But yeah, you can get some really good thermals while keeping the fan noise down on this thing. There's an 80 watt-hour battery inside that lands me about 3.5 hours of battery life. Now if you open up the Dragon Center program, you might notice that it says eco mode while on battery, and it throttles the CPU so hard that web browsing and even typing text documents feels choppy, so make sure to set it to comfort mode if you're experiencing particularly slow performance while on battery. And the charger they include is a pretty basic and standard looking brick with a barrel plug. So would I recommend the GS75? For $2,100 at the base model, I think it's a good laptop, but it wasn't something that blew me away. The two biggest complaints that I had during my regular use are the rubber feet. They give me like zero grip on the desk, and the speakers. But aside from that, it's a fairly easy to carry laptop with a really nice screen. It looks great, I like the keyboard and trackpad, and it's got excellent performance with 3 drive slots. If you can find it on sale, get it, it's awesome. But for $2,100, it's still a good laptop, but just be aware of where it falls short and you'll be fine. So that's the end of this review. Hit the like button if you enjoyed it. Also consider subscribing for more videos. I'll see you guys next time.